Okay, this is the Trig Practice. Try to break this up into a couple videos so it's not overwhelming for my server, my router or whatever. All right, so what we do, we want to convert in terms of pi. That means we do this, but we leave pi out of the calculator. Okay, and we say, okay, pi is going to stay. So we put negative 600 over 1 times 1 over 180. And we let it reduce that. Make sure it's a fraction. And we get 10 over 3, or negative 10 over 3. So that's converting in terms of pi. So to convert to the nearest 10,000s, we put pi in the calculator. So times pi over 180. We actually do 300 times pi, second, to the button. And we get 5.23598 blah 7 blah. Nearest 10,000th. This is 10,000. There are 4 zeros, so I go 1, 2, 3, 4 decimals. So 5.23. That takes this to 0 and this to 6, but you have to keep the 4 decimals, so that's 10,000th. Okay? Now we want to convert to degrees, so we just take this, flip the pi over 180 around, and make 180 over pi, so those cancel out. Just plug that in, and you get 100 degrees. This one here, negative 2.6, you don't see the pi in this, but it's there. It's just kind of built into the problem. So we just do the same thing. We do negative 2.6 times 180 over pi and see what we get. Okay, you get negative 148.9690267. And where did we say to round? Directions to the nearest hundredth. So hundredth, 2 zeros. So 2 decimal places, negative 148. That 9 takes that to a 7. Okay, determine the quadrant that this is in. So that means we have to use ASTC. So sign is positive. So remember, greater than 0 means positive. Sign is positive, so that means it has to be one of these two. That gets canceled out. Tangent is negative. So out of these two that are left, which one would tangent be negative? Well, here, all of them are positive, so tangent wouldn't be negative here, so it would be negative in quadrant 2. All right, same for all of these. Remember, reciprocal functions have the same sign as their reciprocal. So tangent is less than 0, so that means tangent is negative. Cosine is greater than 0, so that means cosine is positive. So we just want to find where those two meet. So we look it over. Okay, cosine is positive. So the only two places cosine is positive is right here. Those two go away. And out of these two, where is tangent, negative? Well, again, these are all positive here. So cosine or quadrant 4. Remember, write it in Roman numerals for all of us. Okay, sine is negative. Okay, sine is negative. So sine is positive here and here. So sine is negative. So it's got to be one of these two. Cotangent is positive. So cotangent is the same as tangent. It's greater than 0, so it's positive. So here it would be negative, so it's got to be in quadrant 3. State which quadrant the terminal of each side, whatever. Okay. We just have to know where 129 degrees is. So if you go from here, this is 0, this is 90, this is 180. So if we're going to go to 190, we're going to be somewhere in here, because we're somewhere between 90 and 180, so that is quadrant 2. Down here, I don't really know what this looks like, so I got to convert. Times 180 over pi, and put that in your calculator and figure that out. Okay, when I put that in my calculator, I get negative 510. Still don't know what that looks like, so I find something coterminal to it. So I add 360, and I get negative 150. That's a little better for me. So this is 0, negative 90, negative 180. So it's somewhere between 90 and 180, so it's right about here-ish. Here-ish, that's right, it's a technical math term. So that would be quadrant 3. Okay, so you just convert, make it sure it's between 0 and 360 or 0 and negative 360, and graph it. So this one says find the reference angle. So a reference angle, remember, is always between the terminal side. So terminal side is this side of the angle and the x-axis. No matter how you measure it, it's always positive and acute. Okay, so this is negative 135. So I have to get to negative 180. So I get negative 135. I would just add 180 to it and see how many degrees that is. So that is 45 degrees. So that's 45 degrees. So that is my reference angle. Sometimes we like you to label it with like an R or theta or a beta or whatever. So you just would put it right there. That's your reference angle. Oh. Next. Okay, for this one, we're again looking for the reference angle, but that's 31 pi, negative 31 pi over 9. I couldn't even pretend to know what that is. So I do have to convert that to make this work. So it's negative 31 pi over 9. Multiply that times 180 over pi. So when I do that, those cancel out, and I'm left with negative 620. So that's too much, so I'll add 360 to it to see, what this angle is right here to here. Get rid of the other part. So I would get negative 260. So that is this angle, the little angle, cutting out the squigglies, I guess. And then I need to figure out, how do I get back to here? So how many degrees do I have to basically cut out another 180 there? So I cut out that angle. So I'm going to add 180 to that. And I get negative 80. But remember, reference angles are always positive. So bam, that's the reference angle. 80 degrees. Is that correct? No. This is given to you in terms of pi. So you do have to take that 80 degrees and convert it back to radians. Okay, when I do that, we generally leave it in terms of pi. So remember, you just put 80 over 180 in your calculator, and you get 4 pi over 9. And so that's the reference angle. Wow, there's a lot of stuff going on there. Okay, so I want to find the reference angle for 330. So this is just basically without a graph, but the easiest thing to do is actually draw the graph. 330 is right about here. So we always want to draw a reference angle between the terminating side and the x-axis. So I just have, this is usually 360 degrees. So it's 360 minus 330. And we get, there's 30 more degrees left. So the reference angle here is 30 degrees. This one here, 3 pi over 4. Again, we don't know what that is necessarily off the top of our head, so we convert it. 2 degrees. I'm going to guess it's 135. And it is. So then we want to find the reference angle for that. So 135 is right about there. So I want to get to the x-axis. So how many more to get to 180 degrees? So it's 180 minus 135. So that's 45 degrees. Again, 45 degrees needs to be converted, and that is pi over 4. So the reference angle here is pi over 4. State if the given angles are coterminal. So that's, there's many different ways to do this, but the easiest way is take one and try to get to the other by adding or subtracting 360. So I would just take this and subtract 360 until I get close to or pass or hit negative 680. Easiest, straightforward way to do it. Okay, so when I do that, I get, this is negative 40, so that's not there yet. So do another negative 360, minus 360, get negative 400 again. I'm not yet at negative 680. Negative 360 again, I get negative 760. I already passed it, so that would be a big no. For this one down here, you need to convert it first, and then just do the same thing. So, okay, this one converted is 210. And this one converted is 930. So then I just continually add 360 to 210. So I get 570, and then add 360 again, and I get 930. So this matches this. So if I just go around the circles, they are coterminal. So that's it. We're going to end this video here.